Good evening, folks. Welcome to OM4C Radio. It's been about 6 months since my last podcast. I've been very busy with school and personal things, and keep maintaining a 3.68 grade average, so I thank the Lord for that. I'm going to enter this conversation and this podcast with a slight prayer, so I'd like all of you to join me. We thank you, Creator, for joining us together and for allowing us to have life and liberty in America. We thank you for the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights that gives each and every one of us certain unalienable freedoms that should not be oppressed by anybody inside the United States. We thank you for the armed forces that have protected the United States Constitution and our freedoms abroad. We send out a special prayer for a strong soldier of the Spirit, Phil Robertson of Duck Dynasty, being ridiculed for speaking his faith and his belief, for expressing his opinion. We pray, Lord, that you will bless him and his family as they stand for what they believe in, and of course ultimately stand for what they believe you believe in. And we thank you for this opportunity to make a conversation on this matter. We pray that the listeners will hear and understand, and bless them as they listen, and bless all of you in England that listen to me here. I apologize for being so far behind. I know I haven't worked on the website, the new one. Just been very busy. So you be blessed, and let's discuss this for one moment. The United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land of the United States of America. There are certain unalienable rights granted to us by God, our Creator, that no one is to abridge. Now, in this instance, Phil Robertson, the Duck Commander of the Duck Dynasty show on A&E, was speaking concerning his beliefs. In those beliefs, they may have been somewhat rudimentary. However, they were at the root his personal opinion, his personal belief, and his personal belief in the path that should be taken to get back to the Creator. Nowhere in my investigation did I see that Phil Robertson said, if you don't follow the way I live exactly, you won't make it to heaven. What he said was the Bible states that homosexuality is an abomination. Under the United States Constitution, gays and lesbians in the United States have a right of choice. But so does Phil Robertson. So does every other free American that lives here. Hate is not spread unless there's controversy over one's belief. It doesn't matter whether you're gay, whether you're a lesbian, whether you're a devout Christian or a Satanist. In America, you have the right to your opinion. You have the right to assemble and to share that belief and opinion with others. And most definitely, if you are asked a question of the media, you have the right to be honest with your belief and opinion, without ridicule, without oppression. A&E, you have oppressed under color of business the Robertson family's right of religious choice and opinion. All of you gay and lesbian groups that have shown hatred have only discredited your opinion by being so hateful towards him for his. If you take this opportunity, you can educate people to the need of the First Amendment. The First Amendment is one of the greatest amendments and one of the things that separate us from so many other countries. It is under the First Amendment that every church operates. It is under the First Amendment that several of the government agencies operate. It is under the First Amendment that A&E and Comcast operate. It is under the First Amendment that ABC, the owner of A&E, operates. It is the First Amendment that allows this LGBT to voice its opinion about gay rights. I urge each and every person to consider, and to consider wisely, because we are at an impasse. We are at an impasse that says that one thing will be tolerated and another will not. Well, I say that any ignorance to the right of the First Amendment and any impediment upon one's First Amendment rights from anyone, whether government agent, a church, and when I say impediment, I don't mean them voicing their opinion about your opinion. That's called debate. And that's what we have. But let's not put anger into these debates. You know, to have intelligent and civilized conversation, you don't have to use profane words to describe your point. Now, sometimes if you're dealing with the streets and some of the people that don't understand or don't have much of an education that understand the profane words a little better than others, it's necessary. But I think the guy that did the interview with Phil, with his nasty comments, only shows his lack of intellect, his lack of couth, and his inability to be unbiased in his report. Now that's my belief. I personally do not believe in anything but a man and woman relationship. However, I do believe under the First Amendment in America, everyone has their right of choice. According to the Christian Bible and the Christian faith, Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed for homosexual behavior. Also understand that Sodom and Gomorrah, according to that scripture, was destroyed for forcible homosexual behavior, meaning rape, for those of you that don't understand what I was meaning by forcible. It is the Norman Ministries and OM4C standpoint that we're all children of the same universe. And as such, we should all get along. And part of this getting along is accepting others for what they believe. Not making a big to-do about someone's belief. If you think Mr. Robertson was wrong, simply state, I don't agree with you, Phil. I think gays and lesbians have just as much right to the kingdom of heaven as anyone else. If you agree with Phil, don't spread hate. Simply say, I agree with Phil. The Holy Bible says that there's no room in heaven for abominable acts. And just agree to disagree. We're not here to judge. I realize that homosexuality has been a controversy for some years. That it was ridiculed by, and still is to some degree, by mainstream religious bodies. I understand the oppression that these people think that they're under. But you know, there is no group of people that was more oppressed than our founding fathers. If you don't believe me, read the charges against the King of England prior to the Declaration of Independence, and as part of all those writings, and the first drafting of the Articles of Confederation. I urge each and every one of you to consider before you speak, to consider all the possibilities of what you say and do. Are you spreading love, understanding, mutual acceptance, and education? based on your belief and understanding? Or are you spreading hatred, chaos, and controversy with what you're saying concerning your beliefs? Was Phil wrong in stating his beliefs? It's none of us to judge. That's his beliefs. Is the gay and lesbian world wrong for their belief? It's not up to us to judge that. It's their beliefs. Should gay marriage be allowed? Should marriage be allowed, period? It's not up to the government or us. It's up to the people to choose. Now that's my opinion. My grandpa used to say that opinions are like anuses. Everybody has one, and most of them talk crap. I know that's not very Christian, but I brought it down to some simple terms. The past does not matter. It is where we are at today. The past is what's brought us to whom and what we are, and this includes us as a country. Our Constitution is clear. It is set with clarity that everyone has a right of choice. Everyone has a right of religion, of press, of assembly. That everybody has a right to their freedom of speech and opinion. And that Congress, nor the states pursuant to Amendment 14, shall make any law that establishes or prohibits a belief. So even these people up on Capitol Hill that are like getting down on Phil for saying what he had to say about them, maybe you better consider the state of our country and wonder why all the people think that about you. You know, the word crisis in Greek means the opportunity. So we are in crisis. We are in crisis as a nation. We are in crisis as religious people. We are in crisis as individual entities, commercial and religious entities. We are at an economic brink of destruction. Isn't there enough controversy? Isn't there enough problems that need to be looked into? That all this energy being focused upon a dispute over someone's belief, whether it be right or wrong, their belief. Couldn't this be focused on, say, I don't know, feeding the poor people that are homeless because of lack of work? Maybe looking into the bad policies of our government and making some changes. Or protesting against the GMOs and other preservatives in our foods. Maybe making agencies like Job and Family Services and Children's Services understand their role as social service and not a political entity per se. Couldn't we take the individual opportunity, the individual time that everyone's spending on whether Phil was right or not, on whether the LGBT was right or not, on whether this one or that one was right? Aren't there enough crises? Can you stop and think in the community where you're at right now? How many people could you help? Has any of these celebrities that have taken the time, good or bad, stopped to consider that the time they've spent either refuting or supporting Mr. Robertson, could have been spent on finding one poor family to help at Christmas time? One poor family to help in this next coming year? Have you given back to your community? Or are you just wasting time arguing over what someone believes? I think we need to cease and desist from all this and look into some real issues. Real issues involving how our government spends the tax dollars. Real issues into how our pastors and our social service organizations spend the money that they get in donations and federal grants. I think we need to take a strong look at the bad policies inside of our state laws that prohibit our rights. I think we all as Americans need to come together and say the First Amendment stands. The First Amendment stands for everyone. If A&E was to say, hey, we're not going to listen to the LGBT any longer, then we should stand for them, that they have a right to be heard. If A&E said, oh, we're going to take it off because this shows a culture of African Americans, then we need to stand. If they want to take a program off, then they just need to take them all off if they don't want any personal beliefs expressed. Because isn't it the personal beliefs of all the writers that make up our shows? Everybody's asking for real TV. Well, Duck Dynasty gives you real TV. Gives you real life adventure. And part of real life is an opinion. Part of real life is a belief. We live by what we believe. Even if you don't believe in nothing, you believe in something because you believe in nothing. It's still your belief. So I say that we all stand together, that Phil had every right to speak his opinion, that LGBT has every right to speak its opinion, and A&E as a company has no right to impede upon either one of their rights. And if they do, we, the people of the United States, will ban them and suspend their First Amendment right of choice. Because they have acted oppressively towards America. If you violate the Constitution, it's an act of treason against the American people. A&E, you are a treasonous company for what you've done to Mr. Robertson. And any of you other stations would be treasonous if you follow suit with such unintelligent, misinformed, and unconstitutional practice. I don't know what else to say about this. I don't know what else will convince each and every one of us that the worst thing we can do in the midst of crisis is create more controversy. Especially over such a fundamental right as the freedom of speech. I say to Phil Robertson and to the whole Robertson family and friends, to West Monroe, Louisiana, the house of the Duck Commander, you go for what you believe. You stand on what you believe. You voice your belief. And I say to the rest of America, whether you agree with Mr. Phil or not, that you say he has the right, and we agree that he has the right to speak, feel, and believe what he chooses without any type of oppression, especially the loss of an income, a job in this crisis of economics. A&E was wrong in its initial determination to suspend someone for their personal belief. Same thing goes for that baker. Who cares if she was a racist 20 years ago? How many other people were racist 20 years ago? How do you get rid of the hate? It's got to stop somewhere. And if a person's converted their life, and they no longer hate, they no longer proliferate what they did 20, 30, 10, even 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, even to this last second. If you have changed for the better, and you're no longer promoting hate, then thank God, thank your Creator, thank yourself, thank whatever, that you were able to overcome hate. When we harbor hatred in ourselves, and we allow it to flood out in our actions, we pollute everything around us. And if we meet hate with hate, all it does is breed even more hate. All it does is set an example to the next generation to hate. Not respecting someone else's beliefs and not allowing them to have them without ridicule, well, I should say unintelligent ridicule, without civilized conversation, it's intolerable. And it breeds and separates us from the universe. Any of you members of the ULC that are listening? Anybody of the Order of the Celtic Cross or the Beckson Church International? I urge you to share this with everybody you can share this with. I urge you to stand for the First Amendment that allows us to do all the things that we do. For all the rest of you listeners, stand. Stand for the right that Phil has a right to feel, speak, and believe whatever it is that he believes, whatever his opinion may be. Because when we say that Phil has that right, we're saying in one voice that we all have that right. To the gay and lesbian community, take it for what it's worth. That's his belief. My dad used to tell me, if the shoe fits, wear it. Don't harbor guilt for being who and what you are. Be who you are. Just be who you are. Someone says something to you and it don't fit, don't wear it. White America, you don't like what an African American has to say? Don't fit, don't wear it. African American, don't like what a white man has to say? And it's not correct about you? Don't wear the shoe. Basically what I'm saying is, doesn't matter whether we're gay America, white America, African America, Chinese American, Japanese American. You notice there's one correlation between all of that, and I think it's something that all of us in the United States needs to come to. And that is that we're all American. In the United States, if you are a citizen, born or naturalized, you're an American. It doesn't matter that you came from Germany or Italy or Spain. It doesn't matter that you're white, black, or pink with purple polka dots. You're an American citizen. Your children are American citizens. And we as American citizens each have our right of choice, opinion, and speech. I urge you, America, come together with this and say in one voice, whether you agree or not, that Phil, the LGBT, all the celebrities, myself, that everybody, we may not agree with what all of us have to say all the time. And we might want to debate some of the facts. I mean, I'm sure that every one of us has had debates or arguments with our spouse or significant other. Or other family member or sibling, whatever. That's just human nature. But I think we can all come together and agree to disagree on issues and say with a loud voice, though, that we will not tolerate anyone impeding the First Amendment. I thank you for your time. I'm going to close this with a little blessing. Children of the universe, I thank you for listening. I send all the positive energies of the universe your way. I ask for the powers that be to bless you as you listen, to bless each and every one of you on your path to the divine. Each and every one of you on your life path as you see fit. Be blessed. Until the next time, this is Bishop Craig Norman signing off. Good night.